Today I'm joined by my former coworker and homie, Ed, whose last name is going to remain anonymous just because the world we live in is what it is. And sometimes people get their feelings hurt when you share your thoughts and opinions. So, dude, thanks for coming out, man.
No, thanks for having me.
We were together down in LA for a while, and now you're up in the Seattle area. And you know what that means. You got to start training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think it's about time.
You know, I always, obviously, all law enforcement officers, I always harp on, you have to train, you have to train, you have to train. But dude, you've always dabbled in jiu-jitsu a little bit, right? Like, what are you, 10-year white belt?
Yeah, if not more.
And I'm not saying that to bust your balls. I'm saying that is like, not everybody has to love jiu-jitsu. But if you're in the professional law enforcement, you need to at least dabble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no doubts you know how to hit an arm drag and put someone in a rear naked choke and some basic fundamentals. And dude, that's the most important thing that you need to know in our profession, in my opinion. But I got to be careful because this podcast becomes all jiu-jitsu almost every episode.
Which is cool.
Yeah. No, it is. And I know that we're going to remain a little bit kind of in the gray with what it is that you do and whatnot. But if you just give everyone a little introduction, where you're from, what you're doing, and we'll just take it from there.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Ed. Last name, like Greg said, will be anonymous, unfortunately, but or fortunately. And I'm from California originally. Was born here in Washington, but my parents took me down south when I was an infant.
Oh, I didn't know you were Washington born.
Yeah, Longview.
Is that where the vampire stuff's at?
It's down south by Portland.
Okay, got it. No, when I say the vampire stuff, what was it? What was that stupid movie?
It was that series.
Twilight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you moved to Cali when you were a baby then?
Yeah.
And where in California did you grow up?
Orange County, Anaheim.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you joined the agency, did you go right back to California or did you bounce around for a bit?
Yeah, LA was my first.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, grew up there. Didn't know I'd get into this. Ended up in this type of profession. First agency, I guess I could mention.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So the U.S. State Department has a law enforcement security bureau. So I worked there for quite a while and spent a lot of time overseas, domestically, a lot of force protection, dignitary protection, investigative work, quite a variety.
Yeah. You know, I've talked about it on the show before. I feel like you talk to anyone that does a career in law enforcement, very few are with one agency the whole time. People are always bouncing around. You know, it's kind of the grass is greener syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
But when I made my video talking about being a patrol officer, I had a bunch of people trying to debunk the story, saying that like I was a paid actor and I wasn't in a patrol car, that I was that was a green screen behind me and all this stuff like that. And something that people kept saying is like, well, he claimed to be part of this agency and now he's claiming to be part of that agency. And it's like, yeah, anyone that knows the profession knows people bounce around.
Yes.
For like different career aspirations, financial incentives, or a lot of times just like trying to get geographically where you want to be, you know?
Absolutely.
So what was, with State Department, what was the overseas stuff that you were working?
So just a general overview for listeners that may not know. It's called diplomatic security. So they handle managing the Marine Security Guard detachments at embassies and consulates. A lot of during the conflicts that we had overseas, a lot of PSD or protective security detail work in all the conflict zones, force protection for the actual facilities, managing guard contracts, and then domestically doing PSD for dignitaries.
Got it. That's, I mean, 04 through 09, I was doing State Department dignitary protection as well, but I was all contracted out
Mm-hmm.
through like triple canopy.
Yep.
So it's basically the same mission, but you were just a direct hire.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys have contracted positions on the team as well, or how did that work?
We did. So like we would integrate with, at the time, triple canopy was 04. That was when like the big triple canopy push, when everyone was super legit.
That's when triple canopy was
Yeah.
fucking rad,
Yeah.
dude. No, I mean, I was with them for the first couple years, and they wouldn't take your application if you didn't come from special operations. Like, they won't even open your resume if it's not from SOCOM. And so that was the best place to go as a young ranger.
Yeah.
It had like a bunch of really seasoned, experienced dudes, and then they would allow rangers to join just because we were young and fit and could shoot. And I also think disciplined, you know, like,
Yeah.
and so we, like, rangers very often integrated onto those teams very well. And yeah, dude, 04, 05 was the Wild
It
West.
was crazy. Yeah.
Where were you at over there?
Initially Baghdad, but they pushed me up to Kirkuk, then Erbil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know if we've talked about this before. You know, I lived in Erbil for 2 years.
What year?
08 and 09.
Oh, okay. I was probably gone. Yeah.
The very end of my contracting days was all up in Erbil. And for people that aren't familiar with Iraq, Erbil is Kurdish. It's not Arab. And so when you're driving north from Kirkuk, you remember those checkpoints,
Yep.
the Kurdish checkpoints. And if you're not Kurdish, you're getting turned around and you're
Oh, yeah.
going back.
Yeah.
But because of that, it was like Erbil was like a vacation.
It was.
It didn't even feel like a deployment. We'd go to like the go-kart racetrack, go to the mall, go out to eat at local restaurants and stuff, which is all just, the idea of doing that would be absurd in any other part of Iraq, you know?
Yeah, that'd be suicide.
Where did you live in Erbil?
We had I think it was called Ankawa.
Ankawa, yeah,
yeah.
the Christian district.
Yeah.
Bro, that's where we live too. They're probably fucking neighbors, dude.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would have kept doing that contract for the rest of my life, but Jenny got pregnant. She's like, "Hey, it's time to put this stuff behind us."
That'll change things.
That'll change things, dude. But Erbil was fun, man.
Yeah.
Like, we would like, you know, the town center where that big statue was at?
Oh yeah.
The Citadel.
Citadel.
That's what it was
Yep.
called. There was like underground arms dealers and stuff in there.
Oh shit.
We'd go in there and like buy a bunch of Pec 4s, Pec 2s, night vision goggles and shit for like pennies on the dollar.
Damn.
And it was somehow there was some like trade going on where all the equipment that was seized off of U.S. convoys that were ambushed would work its way up and then be sold on the streets of Erbil.
Damn.
And I remember we're like, well, we could just go in and seize it all. We don't have to pay for it. But then that's going to be a one-time deal.
Right.
And then they're going to change how they do business. And then we're not going to have access to it anymore.
Right.
So we're like, it makes more sense because this has changed hands 15 times. These guys aren't Al-Qaeda Iraq. They're just, you know what I'm saying? They're down the chain, 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, we'll just keep buying it from them, just getting it off the streets. So I still have that shit in my closet to this
nice.
day.
Does it work?
Hell yeah, it works, dude. That's why I just got a Pec 15 for my rifle.
Oh,
because
shit.
I was like, well, Pec 2s and Pec 4s are like fucking antiques now.
Yeah.
But the night vision they were selling was PVS 14s.
Yep.
And so that's still legit.
Yeah. 14s are still being used.
Everyone likes 31s now,
Yeah.
but I don't have 12 grand to throw at a pair of night vision goggles.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and dude, like, as you know, whenever the apocalypse hits, those who have night vision versus those who don't, that's the game changer
It
right
is.
there.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
just fucking being able to make headshots at 400 meters at midnight.
It's like a video game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fucking point and
You can't compete with that.
Yeah.
And so people that have never used any type of infrared laser on a rifle, once you put night vision on, you can literally just push a button and your laser will illuminate. I mean, it's literally like the diameter of a pencil, probably. They're, pretty thin, but you can hit your targets at, like I said, 400 meters, as long as it's zeroed properly. You do your homework and you set your rifle up,
right.
and it is like a fucking video game.
Yeah.
So,
Badass.
so how many contracts did you do overseas then with State Department, or not contracts, but deployments?
So initially, my first 1 year PCS was '04 to '05, and then I went back in '08, probably 3 times. And that was all Baghdad.
Where were you staying in Baghdad? Just in the IZ?
In the IZ, first was the Palace before they switched over to the new embassy compound. They call it the Neck now, which is like a college campus almost.
I just heard about that for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
Because I have a buddy who's doing a contract and he's living in the new embassy.
Yeah.
And bro, they're only making like $400 a day now.
That's like half of.
That's not even worth deploying for, in my opinion. Like, fuck, dude, fuck that. Plus with there's so much red tape now. You know, like back in '04, you weren't even writing reports on shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? You get engaged, you get in an ambush, you get in a gunfight. It's like, roger that. Let's go lift weights.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of lifting weights back then.
Dude, yeah, deployment life was like, I mean, we used to have a little like squad bay, and it had our team motto over the top of it. And it said, "Eat, fuck, kill." Bro, like every dude on the team had a girlfriend over there.
Oh, nice. Like,
and
local? Or?
No, Marines, dude. Bro, like when you have like I said, we were contracted through State Department. So each of us had our own hooch, our own shower, our own television, and our own internet modem.
Oh.
And so like, bro, that's like fucking lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Sure is.
When you can compare it to how the military was living. And so like all the military were living in like GP medium tents with 20 people to a hooch, community showers where everybody has to shower just together in this open bay. And so it didn't take long for word to spread on base as like, dude, this team down here, they have like a fire pit. Each one of them has their own shower. And so we'd throw parties, and girls, all these Marine Corps girls would come down and change into like sweatpants. Like, people don't realize being able to just put civilian sweatpants on, sit around a fire pit and crack a beer, it's a fucking game changer when you're deployed for 8-12 months. It's like a little sense of normalcy. And so as soon as word spread around the base that was what it was like on our side of the base, we get people hitting us up in the chow hall all the time. Hey, can we come down and have some beers tonight?
Oh, yeah.
And it was just, before you know it, it was like, that was just real life, you know? But it was really cool, man, because we would be able to give people, like particularly female Marines, a sense of normalcy. And that's huge over there.
It is.
You know?
Every little bit,
man. And of course the higher up in the chain of command fucking hated us because of it.
Yeah.
You know? Because dude, what were like general orders number 1? It was like no alcohol. And then like one of the general orders was no sex. And it's like, what? We're fucking adults and we're in war.
Right.
Like, and what you learned is it was actually like people were being more free spirited over there than anywhere I'd ever seen. I never lived on like a college campus or anything, but dude, we were getting mortared every single day.
Yeah.
So if you're getting mortared every single day, you're probably more likely to just cut loose and enjoy yourself.
Perspective changes. And you ever see like in the cache or anywhere, there's like huge bowls of just condoms everywhere. So it's like with the whole no sex thing. It's
yeah, they know. Bro, you can't take human beings and put them in an environment where it's like your life may literally end at a moment's notice and then expect them to never cut loose and have a beer. Don't have relationships with anyone. Don't have sex with anyone. It's like, this is all primal shit that people enjoy. Like, and that's just the military 101. They have this strange way of ruining everything, you know? So like I said, we're at the CrossFit gym and they're downstairs working. It's Easter Sunday, so I thought it'd be a ghost town in here. So if you hear some weights being dropped or fans getting turned on. It is what it is. We do real life here too. So what made you make the switch then? Why did you want to get out of State Department?
Because it's mandatory PCS moves, so you got to move, kind of like the military, I guess. And I don't know, just wanted to get back to Cali at the time, so I went to another agency first. Actually, Homeland Security. I used to work there.
Okay.
But that was all narcotics work at the border in San Diego, which you could probably imagine is rampant.
Yeah.
So, and what I did was just kind of deal with loads coming in of people trying to like sneaking in their cars, on their body, like put that shit in their tires and the fucking wheel wells, all that shit. And it was just nonstop and kind of, I didn't really find it to be that fulfilling, to be honest. You know, just dealing with people just trying to get by, and they weren't like hardened criminals. They're just like mules.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you pay anyone enough, they are going to be incentivized to do shit like that, you know?
mm-hmm.
And dude, that's a big thing, I think, with a lot of law enforcement officers is it's like when you watch that kind of stuff on TV or you hear people talking about it, it sounds kind of high speed or it sounds cool, but day in and day out, and that's just the grind, it loses its luster fast.
Absolutely.
And like, I don't care what you're doing. Maybe there's some certain like specialized units that are doing cool, like super cool shit that feels fulfilling. Like I bet like child sex crimes would feel fulfilling.
Oh yeah.
Putting those motherfuckers away, you know?
Yeah.
But outside of that, dude, almost every person in the profession I know is just burned out, you know?
It's nonstop.
It's nonstop, dude. And not only is the job nonstop, but now like the political climate, law enforcement officers are the bad guys now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, how am I going to stay motivated to go out there, put my physical safety at risk every single day, knowing that the public looks at you like you're a fucking demon. And then also all these agencies are so politically driven now that if you step out of line for a second and it behooves them to hang you out to dry, you're getting hung out to dry.
Yeah.
You know? And so I tell people all the time that are young, that are interested in law enforcement, like go to the fire service.
Right. They're all heroes. Everyone loves them, you know? Like,
yeah, dude. No. And I mean, we talked about this off air, and I think it's a good thing to bring up. Like, and I'm not Nostradamus, but this is my prediction, dude, is that when the George Floyd verdict comes out, if he's found to be innocent, that's going to be, I think that has the potential to be a catalyst to really cause problems nationwide. Because you know damn well we're going to see rioting in the streets. We're going to see buildings being burned. We're going to see looting. We're going to see all that shit over again. And I just don't think the country is in a place where they're willing to accept round two of that.
right.
Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I don't know, man.
I know.
Like, what do you think?
Sadly, I think there may be some truth to your prediction. Hopefully not, but I mean, from what we saw last year, I think it's highly likely there will be some sort of destruction and mayhem as a result of, you know, if the verdict doesn't go in line with what they want it to be.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, I don't know a cop out there that has not condemned Derek Chauvin's behavior. Any person that is trained on how to take people into custody knows that the application of force ceases once they're in handcuffs, right? Obviously, there are scenarios that you could paint where you could fuck somebody up in handcuffs if they're fucking biting somebody or whatever, you know? But the thing where this gets kind of fucking murky is that the autopsy concluded it was a fentanyl overdose, correct?
Yeah, there's an extremely high percentage of fentanyl in his system.
And so I don't know what that I mean, obviously, we'd have to sit on the jury to get all the facts and all the information. But all it takes is one juror to be like, you know what? I am not sold that the knee on the neck is what caused his death. And if there's even an element of doubt in one person's mind, guess what? hung jury.
Yeah.
Or if enough of them believe it, not guilty.
Right.
And I mean, you and I have worked federal cases a million times. How many times have you seen a verdict delivered that shocks you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've realized that working federal cases and sitting through like all the court proceedings from the time the guy was arraigned until he was sentenced, you know, like we've spent many hours sitting in court. You get a feel for how the system works and you realize it's just a fucking crapshoot.
Yeah.
You know, there's 12 people that they have to assemble that are going to determine the fate of this person. And dude, they're just people. They're flawed. They have opinions. They have preconceived notions. And I'm not saying that I have a better solution to it, but it's certainly a flawed system. And I don't know what the right answer is, but fuck, man.
Yeah, it's tricky. You know, like you said, each individual has complex factors going into how they decide, right? So it's
in a case like this, how can you not be biased too? You know, like part of jury selection is you're not supposed to have previous knowledge of the case. That doesn't exist.
right.
That doesn't exist not only in America, but it doesn't exist in any civilized part of planet Earth.
Right.
If you have internet access, you know who George Floyd is.
Absolutely.
You know? And so, yeah, dude, I think, I don't think that it's not only out of the realm of possibility, but I don't even think it's unlikely that you have a hung jury or that you have a not guilty verdict.
Right.
And, dude, buckle up, dude.
Yeah.
You know, button down the hatches, board up your windows, and it's fucking. And the thing is like, are the people that are breaking windows and lighting things on fire, is that really their way of showing outrage, or are they just seizing an opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of opportunists, especially, you know, people grabbing surfboards and Louis Vuitton purses. Like,
yeah, what does that have to do with like a justice system that they're not satisfied with? Fucking nothing, dude.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But people aren't willing to call it what it is.
Yeah.
Like, who knows, man? Who knows where it'll fucking go? But
do you have a plan for if that does go down?
So, I mean, my plan is going to be the same that it's been, because I wanted to go to Chaz and start shooting people. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Dude, I don't think a civilized society should sit back and let a mob of people burn their city down. And like Seattle was out of control for a while. Police cars getting torched and stuff. But the conclusion that I came to after talking to my logical wife is I'm not going to confront these people with any kind of violence unless they're in my community. And so if they were to come to this gym, people will be dead out in the field. That's a fucking 100% guarantee. If they come to my house, same thing. But outside of that, I feel like I'm kind of torn on it because it's not my responsibility to go save other businesses.
Right.
If you don't have the courage to save your own business, fuck you. But then the other side of it is like we're protectors too, right?
Right.
Like we're capable men. There's a part of me that feels obligated to protect those people that can't. And I've talked about it on the show before. If you have some like my buddy that was on last week, Victor, owns a construction company down in their office is downtown Seattle. And he's a fighter and he's an aggressive guy. He'd go out and confront problems. But then if you got some 70-year-old lady that runs a candle shop, she literally doesn't have the option to confront these people. It's not in her capabilities. So someone like that does deserve to have pipe hitters go down on her behalf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I guess we'll just kind of have to play it by ear and see how bad it gets. But the bizarre thing is if you protect your community, you're immediately painted as this fucking racist psychopath like that
what's his face written?
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Like what a strange fucking set of circumstances that turned into.
Yeah. He
was literally being chased down the street, hit with skateboards.
Right.
And he shot that dude and the dude that got shot's the hero.
Right.
You know, I saw that dude on the internet with his fucking bicep all fucking bandaged up, giving some speech that was terrible. The guy couldn't articulate 2 fucking sentences together. But dude, why would a young man that's protecting his community just be demonized nationwide? Well, I can tell you why, dude. Because that goes against the narrative. You get people that are standing up for their communities. You get 10 Kyle Rittenhouses in each city. The whole fucking, like, there's going to be a shift nationwide. And I don't think they want that.
Right.
You know? I don't know, man. Like, I keep telling people a boiling point is going to come where you can no longer sit back. You're going to have to decide to act. And I don't know what the catalyst is going to be, and it might be the George Floyd verdict. But yeah, I mean, I'm to a point where, like I said, if it's not directly affecting me or my community, I don't think it's my job to go down there and confront that.
Right.
And we'll see what the current state of law enforcement is too, then, because law enforcement got kind of fucked where they were not being utilized in a manner that they should have been. Are they going to let cops do their job this time and stop people from fucking burning cities and rioting? Or does everybody get a free pass again? I don't know, man. I think a lot of the political climate that we saw last time was directly the narratives were being pushed directly in hope of affecting the election. Now the election's over.
Right.
So how will that change? I don't know.
Time will tell, right?
You know, but I do have I did get the 30 acres out in the woods.
You did.
So it's like, it just depends on how bad this fucking, how bad it goes.
Yeah.
And the weird thing for me is here's the thing. It's like the property that I got, we're going to put some cabins on it. We're going to Airbnb them out. Like, it's going to be something that helps provide for my family in the best case scenario. And then it's going to be kind of a fallout location, worst case scenario. And if you don't think that there's a possibility that the world as we know it can change, I don't think you're being honest with yourself. People have been fucking going through adversity since the beginning of mankind.
Right.
We're not immune to that shit.
Yeah.
People think that we are just because America has been what it is. But I mean, you've traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people living in fucked up situations, and that could be you, you know? And if you're not willing to be honest with yourself and take a little bit of preparation, then good luck when the time comes.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, people that haven't had exposure to situations or, climates, cities, countries that are really going through some serious shit, like, they have a altered perspective and frame of, what life is like here.
And dude, like, it's human nature. Humans are fucked up creatures.
Yeah.
Humans want to hurt each other. Humans want to take each other over. I mean, dude, that's everything we learned in history was about superpowers forming and people sweeping across continents and killing everybody. It's like, yeah, I think we are more civilized than we were maybe 100 years ago. But the human being is still the human being.
Yeah.
And we're going to do what we do. And I honestly think if the United States ever finds themselves in a position where we are vulnerable, someone will seize that opportunity, i.e. China, Russia. Like, that's not me sitting up here fear-mongering. Like, I don't have any idea what's going to happen. I don't know if that's ever going to take place. But to say that it couldn't, I don't think you're being reasonable.
Or to say that they're not already looking.
Yeah, dude. No, they're playing the long game, And now we're to a place where the American political structure and then also just like the way that so many of our citizens are so concerned about stuff that's meaningless. People yelling at each other over masks. People mad about the LGBTQXYZ community doesn't have fair representation in public schools. Like all these little things. It's like, guys, you realize there's other fucking countries out there chomping at the bit to see us fail. And we're eating ourselves from the inside over a bunch of stuff that doesn't even fucking matter.
The masks, especially the masks.
Yeah, the mask, dude. It's almost like a choreographed. And bro, I mean, I saw the writing on the wall a year ago. Like it's literally coming up on a 1-year anniversary of that fucking video, and people are still out there, fucking getting into it on the streets over a fucking mask. And I don't understand how that's even possible. It's honestly made me lose a lot of hope, or I should say faith in Americans, because it's just like the vaccine. If the masks work, if the vaccines work and you believe in it and you're doing it, why do you give a fuck what I do?
Right. Go and do it.
Go do it.
And wear 10 masks if you want.
Yeah.
Like,
what does that have to do with me?
Right.
You know? Or you and now the new thing that's just bizarre is the vaccine. Not only do the people that believe in the vaccine get it, they're not happy until you get it. And dude, I'm literally like flabbergasted at that. I don't know how to make sense of that. Does it work or does it not work? If you're pumping it into your body, that suggests to me you believe it works. And if you believe it works, why do you give a fuck?
Right.
Strange fucking times we're in, dude.
They really are.
You know, I heard a statistic yesterday, and it was probably off the internet, and there's probably no validity to it. But it was interesting nonetheless, is that if the power grid were to go down, up to 90% of Americans are dead within one calendar year.
Is it fucked up that we're laughing at that?
No, because if you fucking die because the power grid goes down, good. Like, I know that's fucked up, but I mean, me and Jenny have talked about it. We got the 30 acres. We're going to build some cabins and stuff. But guess what else we're going to do? Some basic infantryman shit. Interlocking sectors of fire.
Yeah.
A couple fighting positions. Some bunkers. I bought a bunch of sandbags. And dude, like old school fucking re-entering the wire, infantryman shit, ranger school shit. If you're approaching the compound and you don't have the right challenge and pass, goodbye. You know?
Right.
And based on who that person is approaching will determine if the goodbye is get the fuck out of here or bang. You know, like right. I just don't think people are realizing how fucked up it could get. Mm-hmm. Hurricane Katrina was a perfect example.
Yeah.
Dude, you take a normal functioning US city and you take away, or you put them in a situation like they were in when the hurricane hit, where law enforcement isn't able to respond, electricity's down, people are having a hard time escaping the city, and almost immediately human beings went savage.
Yeah.
You know, mm-hmm. I had a buddy say to me last night, I thought it was a pretty cool statement. He goes, yeah, anyone in the country is nine meals away from being a savage.
Damn.
And think about that, dude.
Yeah. It comes to survivability, self-preservation.
Yeah. You don't eat for 3 days, or your children don't eat for 3 days. Okay. We got to figure something out.
Yeah.
Because this isn't working.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. And then suddenly rules don't apply. Laws don't apply. You don't even care about your neighbor. Like, if it comes down to my neighbor eating or my children, I'm probably taking your food. And I like my neighbors.
Right.
So, bro, who knows where this goes, right?
Yeah. Scary.
I was joking before we push record that it's a good thing I have video on this episode. I don't always have video. Sometimes it's just audio. But because you're Asian,
right?
I want to virtue signal a little bit, and I want to show everybody that this podcast embraces diversity.
Very diverse, right?
especially in today's culture of what is it, the Asian hate that's going around.
Stop Asian hate is the
what
thing.
What even was that? If you know, I don't really know. I heard someone killed some prostitutes or something?
Some sex workers in Atlanta. I don't even watch the news anymore, but yeah. So this guy, he shot up a bunch of them, and then so now everyone's going forward with the Stop Asian Hate thing, and whether or not it's genuine, I'm sure a lot of it is virtue signaling, like we've seen before, which I think is a narcissistic behavior in and of itself.
Of course it is.
But so that's the thing now. And there's a bunch of crime on Asians, victimization in like the Bay Area, California, all over the place. They're just getting
So, I mean,
up.
is this something that's legitimately happening, or is it people seizing an opportunity to be like, look, Asians are being targeted because this happened or that happened, and cherry picking stuff?
So part of the narrative is that I guess there's blame going on for the virus and China, and that's
a
one
real thing.
That's one thing I've heard, whether or not it's true, but old elderly Asians are getting, like Chinese and whatnot, are getting attacked.
I did see that lady that got, I don't know how she got attacked, but I saw the aftermath where she had like 2 black eyes.
Yeah.
And it was like an 80-year-old woman or something.
Yeah, she was pretty elderly.
Her GoFundMe is at like $1 million. though.
Shit.
But,
She's good.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So the best thing that ever happened to her, as fucked up as that is to say.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna say you're the first Asian on the podcast, but I had Mike Glover on. But it was determined via the interwebs that Mike Glover is a white supremacist.
Ah, yes.
So,
yes. A lot of people think that about him.
yeah. So, like, dude, you can't even make this shit up, dude. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm Korean, right?
Right.
Like, I literally can't be a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Fucking so ridiculous, dude. But like, I saw a thing where it was like Black Lives Matter, Asian Life Matter, and Hispanic Lives Matter. And then below it says, easy. We're getting close to all lives matter.
Don't you dare say that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, don't you dare say that. Just fucking, dude, it's bizarre fucking times we're in.
It sure is.
Yeah. So I know you can't, I know you're not here to talk about the profession too much, but you recently moved to Seattle, and how's that been?
It's been an adjustment.
Uh-huh.
Definitely. I mean, even though I was born here, have family and some friends here, it's tricky coming to a place like this when the weather's like this and not having a network, tribe, structure, support,
Yeah.
things like that. And work has been a little bit different too. Less people that I'm working with, so that makes a difference.
That's a weird thing about, like, in the military, they move you all over the place, right? But in the military, you're usually part of a section or a platoon. And so even though you might be the fucking new guy, you got a bunch of people that you're integrated with. And before you know it, your new norm feels natural.
Right.
But in our line of work, you're going to fucking move 2 states away, and you're only going to have like 1 or 2 guys that you work with, perhaps, depending on the mission and what office you're attached to and all that. So it's kind of like starting from square one again,
Sure is.
Start swiping right on Tinder, dude.
Yeah. I mean, so nowadays it's, there's different apps out, but
Uh-huh.
you gotta, that is one option. It's a vehicle. Yeah.
Bro, I always say I'm so glad that I got married before Tinder.
Yeah.
Nothing good would have come from that. I just feel like lots of bad would have come from that. Like, you can I can just meet girls tonight by fucking looking at my phone.
Yeah.
That's bizarre, dude.
Yeah. There's all kinds of weird like studies and data out there about how it's kind of jacked up the dating landscape, like with men, women, just the whole inorganic fucking way of meeting people.
Just because it's too easy or what?
Yeah. So I once heard from a therapist friend. She said it gives guys the impression that they have more options than they do, and it gives girls the impression that they don't have to put in work. 'Cause it kind of caters to women for the most part. Like, girls get way more fucking options than dudes
Of course
do.
they do. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then the dudes are like, oh, well, like, I can just, I, I have so many options, but really they may not. So they're not working to improve themselves either. So it's kind of like dudes and chicks are both like, I'm not going to fucking work on this, and that's what I've heard.
I mean, and that's indicative of a bigger problem of just how people communicate now as the internet, as the vehicle, instead of face to face. Because think about that. Like, if you wanted to meet a girl when we were growing up, you had to go talk to her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
literally walk up and be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
You want to get a coffee?
Right.
Want to go out to lunch?
Yeah.
That probably doesn't even exist anymore,
Yeah. Probably not.
you know?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wonder about, like, when just developing sexually as a young man, right? When we were, because you're 42, right? 41, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm 40, so same age. Like, if you had, like, your older cousin gave you a Playboy magazine and you went and hid it in your tree fort, and you could go look at it with your friends sometimes. Like, it was like a big deal. Dude, I got a Playboy magazine,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
now you could literally be like, I want to watch a girl get fucked by a horse.
Right.
And in 10 seconds, you're watching that.
Yeah.
There's nothing left for the imagination.
Yeah.
And so if you're a 16-year-old boy, like, and you grew up with an iPhone, you've already seen, there's nothing left to imagine.
Right.
You've literally seen anything that you have typed into your phone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that is going to make the girl in your fourth period math class like an exciting thing to pursue.
Yeah.
It's like,
Seriously.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, oh no, I've been on Pornhub since I was 12.
Yeah.
That's going to have effects on people.
Oh,
dude.
yeah. Long lasting fucking psychological for sure.
And so now, instead of learning and developing sexually as a young person with other young people, it's like people are developing through their phone.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this, I know some young people that don't have any interest in dating. And it's like, what? Like, when I was your age, all I thought about was girls.
Right.
That's like, and I don't know if that's ever going to shut up.
Yeah.
It started at 14 and I'm 40, and it's like, but in all seriousness, though, it's like, are you guys just content because you have browsers or something?
I think so. Yeah. It does the job, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
fucking, it like quenches that sex drive thirst,
Yeah.
and you have to put zero work in.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're just the old guys now
Maybe. Yeah.
that are
right.
like looking at the young generation and being like, you guys are all fucked up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know, dude. God, I had another point on that. I can't remember what it was, but I think the internet is just fucking people up
Yeah.
on every single aspect.
Yeah.
Like, I got my first, I think I told you about the guy that was talking shit to me on the internet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that was the first time that that's happened where I actually engaged him back
Damn.
and was like, dude, I'll pay you $500 to come to my gym and speak to me like this face to face. Fuck you, you're an asshole, blah, blah, blah. And then literally said, Mitch Aguiar got on because
Yeah, good on
he
him.
fucking hammers trolls on the internet
Yeah.
and said, hey, I'll fly you out there first class and I'll double Greg's offer. And he goes, let's fucking do this. And I was like, am I really going to get in an internet fight as a 40-year-old man?
Right.
And as ridiculous as it sounded, it was kind of like, dude, this could be fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Some Hickson Gracie shit.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Bro, I love that you said that, because Hickson is like, when I fight for money, I stop when you tap or when the ref tells me to. When I fight for pride, I stop when I want to.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And then the next day, he deleted his account and all his comments.
There you go.
He was gone. Poof. Fucking ghost on the internet.
Yeah.
But dude, that's an exact example of people are willing to behave in a certain way because they know they're protected.
Yeah.
And that's fucking gross, dude.
Yeah.
Like, why would you be rude to people? Why would you take the anonymity, I think I said that right, as an opportunity to be rude to people.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense, dude. Like, use it as an opportunity to talk to people and express your opinion. But all the fuck yous, people don't treat each other like that.
Right.
But they do now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a false sense of security behind the device. So, do you get a lot of trolls?
I did initially. When I first put that video out, I had a lot of people that are like, fuck you, you're a fucking piece of shit, you're going to get people killed. You know, the whole, like, if you buy into the narrative, if you go against it at all. And I don't know if you even remember, but when I made that video, I didn't address COVID. I specifically didn't address COVID because I'm a professional law enforcement officer. I need to speak to what my profession and my expertise is. Not what the doctors are saying, not about the masks, not about social distancing. And so even though I have opinions on all that, I purposely left that out.
Right.
And I was talking about law and people's constitutional rights and what we are allowed to do as law enforcement officers. It's like, we have to follow the law. We don't get to change how we do business because your mayor tells you to. That was the whole point of that message. Didn't matter. If you went against the narrative, people are like fucking furious. But the weird thing is like 98% of people were on board, but the 2% that weren't were the most vocal.
Right.
Talking the most shit. And then you find that the 2% of people talking shit to you gets more of your attention.
Yeah.
Than the 98% of people that are supportive. And that's just human nature, I think.
Is. Yeah.
You know?
We have like a built-in negative confirmation bias.
Yeah, and we're like, what the fuck? Why does this person hate me?
Right. Right.
And
I'm so sad.
And bro, it took a while to have like a I don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah.
Because that shit will eat you alive, dude. If you focus on the people that are talking shit to you. So anymore, like, if I start to read a message and it's hateful, I literally delete it before I even finish it. Because I feel like if I'm even finishing the message is putting my energy in the wrong places.
Right.
Because there's so many cool fucking people out there.
Yeah.
There's so many people you can align with. There's so many people that share your perspectives, that align with the right people. And I'm not saying there can't be two sides to the issue.
Right.
If you want to discuss stuff with me, I'm happy to discuss stuff. But if you come at me like a fucking jerk or a tough guy, delete.
Right.
I feel like there's nothing to gain by engaging someone on the internet, because if they're rude to you out of the gates, they're not coming from a perspective where they're open-minded enough to learn anything.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I've talked about on the show before, I have a friend who's very liberal. He's been vaccinated. He wears his mask. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And him and I have been friends for over a decade. And conversations are always very respectful. And it's hard for me to grasp sometimes because my mindset is so different. But if he wants to talk to me about COVID, it's because he believes that it's in my best interest, or it's in my family's best interest, to learn and apply some of these measures that are being pushed, right? Mm-hmm. He's not doing it because he thinks I'm a fucking moron or he wants to be mean to me. And I feel like if you want to get people's attention, you're not going to do it by being a dick.
No.
Like you never see friendly conversations on the internet.
No.
Like, why do you think I should get vaccinated? Well, these studies suggest that the vaccine is effective and blah, blah, blah. Like, just, there's two sides to every issue. So talk to me about why you think it's a good idea. You never see that on the internet.
No.
You see, fuck you,
yeah.
and about one or two comments down, mm-hmm. and it just goes fucking, everybody just gets furious at each other. Yeah. And I think it's a big part of not having face-to-face conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
Because think what it would take for us sitting here right now. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of things that we disagree on, right? And if we were to discuss any of those topics where we have differing opinions, think what it would take for us to get to a point where we're like, go fuck yourself. No, fuck you.
Right.
Like, think what it would take to get there.
Yeah.
almost impossible.
Right.
Right. Unless you're on the internet.
Yeah.
Then you arrive at that in 3 sentences.
Yeah. Definitely.
And it's just, fuck, who knows? And that's why I think like it's not sustainable. The path that society is on, this cannot be sustainable.
No. Yeah, we got to be able to have some discussions at some point.
Yeah.
Like productive.
But I honestly think because we can't have productive conversations over the phone, over our phones or over the internet, it's gotten to a point where people don't allow productive conversations in real life either.
Yeah.
Everybody's so quick to just shut everybody down. And it's like, once you have your beliefs, that's it, you know?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Fuck, dude. Like, I think we're going to see some changes within our society that are unlike anything anybody's ever guessed would happen to America under the Biden administration. And dude, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I go back and listen to this episode in 4 years after the new president's. There's no way this guy is president in 4 years. There's 0% chance, right? But I hope I go back and everything's cool, right? Like, I don't want the world to go to shit.
No.
I just don't see how it can't. You know?
Yeah, it's tough.
He can't even walk upstairs, dude.
There's so many memes on the internet, like even, you know, meme pages before that would bash Trump. Now, like they're bashing him. Like it's just.
Did you see the one that Donald Trump Jr. posted? It's like a bunch of people in a pub, and there's a big screen television, and it shows Biden walking up the stairs, and everybody's just like waiting. And the second he gets to the top stair, the bar just erupts.
You start cheering.
It's fucking rad, dude. Yeah. Like shit like that makes me love the internet, you know?
Yeah. Internet won on that.
But dude, it's not just political stuff. It's like anything. If you go against this narrative, you're somehow like this evil person, you know? I was thinking about it this morning because I was injecting peptides into me. And that's, dude, I'm down with those.
Dope.
So I don't know, for people that aren't familiar with it, it's called, there's the new thing in like what biohacking or whatever you call is peptides. And I bought 2, and one is called BPC 157, and then one is called TB 500. And it's they're healing peptides that are supposed to really promote regeneration of tissue, help healthy tissue continue to grow. And if you read any of the studies on it, and most of them are animal studies, so it's pretty new, but I'm down to be a guinea pig. I don't give a fuck, dude. People are saying that it's fucking like straight magic, how you can take torn ligaments, ruptured tendons, you shoot this stuff subcutaneously. So you take an insulin needle and you shoot it into, people argue back and forth that like site injections, like if you inject it in the site of injury versus just anywhere subcutaneously, it may have differing results. But dude, I'm on 3 days of this stuff. My knee's been fucked for years and I feel fine today.
What?
Bro, I'm telling you, I feel fine today.
Damn.
And I don't know. I was just saying to my wife this morning, I'm like, is this placebo?
Right.
Is this even possible?
Right.
I walked up the stairs, 0 pain. And anytime I've walked up the stairs for the last 5 years, there's some element of pain. Even if it's a 2%, there's always something that I can feel. Nope, nothing, dude.
Damn.
But it's like our country, it's completely okay to eat Krispy Kreme donuts, drink beer all day, and smoke Marlboro Reds and be 50 pounds overweight. Like if you see a 50-pound person overweight smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer, you might think like, okay, look at that fat slob or whatever, right? But you would never think like that's socially unacceptable. What's that person doing?
Right.
But as soon as you are an athlete and you inject testosterone, suddenly you're just like piece of shit.
Cheater, monster, fucking, all that
dude.
Shit, yeah.
And it's like, actually, if you've ever hurt yourself or you've ever trained hard and you do like a low dose of testosterone, just like a TRT therapy, you feel so much better, but people can't talk about it.
No.
That's what, dude, bro. And like, I don't even expect you to reply because you can't talk about it. But I'm in a position in my life where like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I'm willing to be honest and transparent about anything. And testosterone is considered like the worst thing on the planet in some people's mind, but they don't care that at the gas station, there's 600 packs of Marb Reds behind the counter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, no, do you know who Ben Greenfield is?
Oh, yeah.
So I was reading his reviews on the stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that dude does so much crazy shit to his body.
He's got like 100 things. Like,
he's biohacking constantly, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like, he's okay being the guinea pig and just kind of seeing where it goes.
Yeah. Smart dude.
People have to be willing to do that to make advancements.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
That's what, bro, and that's what everybody's doing with the vaccine.
Right.
Did you see the video of Dr. Ryan Cole?
I don't think so.
So he's a say that word, virologist, and he made a video about just the whole response to COVID. And again, like, he has the credentials to back up what he's saying. And he was saying, like, I'm not here to talk about, like, take a political side. I'm not part of an agenda. He goes, we're strictly looking at data. This has been a year now. We have lots of data in regards to the mask, in regards to social distancing, in regards to like who's at risk, why certain people are at risk. And it's kind of basically everything that you would expect, man. You know, he said the biggest correlation to getting sick and COVID-19 is vitamin D deficiencies.
Mm.
He goes, why is that not like the biggest narrative nationwide?
Right.
Get yourself healthy. And then if you're deficient in vitamin D, you need to start taking it. So,
damn.
But yeah, if you're listening and you haven't seen that, you need to go watch that video. It's just eye opening. He's one of those guys, 30 seconds into talking, you're like, oh, okay. He's genuine. He knows what he's talking about.
Right. Not making it political, which is great.
Yeah, dude. I know you dabbled in jiu-jitsu a little bit, but you got really good at dancing the last couple of years.
I knew we'd get into this.
I'm not letting you go without talking about dancing. Can I call it dancing or do I have to call it shuffling?
You can call it dancing, shuffling, whatever. Yeah, but it's both. Yeah.
Dude, where did that start and where is it at? Sure. And where are you going with it?
All right.
I fucking love it, dude.
I know you do. You always mention it.
That's because it's cool, man.
Yeah,
like, it's just fun to see my friends doing shit that they enjoy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So I think like when I first moved to DC, it was probably 2016. And then before I came here, started getting into music festivals, doing a lot, midlife crisis, had just gone through divorce and was like, you know what, I'm going to go to music festivals. So like, fuck it. And I saw these people doing this shit at the back and I'm like, they look like they're having fun and there's like dope energy and they're all cheering each other on. So I was like, I started looking at shit on the internet, but I had no community. So I sucked like for a while.
You're saying you sucked at shuffling.
Oh yeah. Terrible. Like fucking awful. Like kind of like, I mean, I don't know if I can use a parallel here, but let's say a brand new person rolling around in jiu-jitsu, right? Like, they just move like differently or too aggressively or whatever.
Yeah. They don't know what kind of energy to bring.
Yeah. It's just weird, like looking, and then, I went through kind of a shitty learning curve and then, got with
What do you mean by a shitty learning curve?
Like,
so you looked into this and you decided, like you said, this looks dope. These people seem cool.
Yeah.
I want to be part of this community.
Right.
And then you started learning like online.
Yeah, but there's no good resources. It's not like jiu-jitsu where you have like the Danaher series on this or that, there's nothing out there that's that good. So I was just watching, but it just wasn't the same until I met real people in DC. And then that's kind of where it took off. And then met some people in California and then just kind of kept going with it. And then joined a crew, like a dance team.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I want to know more, man. I feel like I'm having to pry it out of you. Dude, so How do you even find people to go shuffle with? Because, dude, you're always making cool videos,
Yeah.
like all like different parts of the city and the night and shit, playing cool music, and then like a bunch of people dancing.
Yeah.
Is there literally, I mean, I guess there's what, like internet groups and stuff? Hey, we're going to meet here and do this.
Yeah. So there's like meetup groups, and then there's crews, and then there's just like, but the internet's good for stuff like this, right? So Instagram, and then you just kind of connect with people at festivals on Instagram. Then they call it collabing, which is like collaboration.
Yeah.
So you collab with people, and you just kind of branch out. And like out here, Pacific Northwest, there's a group.
So have you found your shuffling group since you moved out here?
Yeah, they're like a like a meetup group. Yeah, so they meet every week.
I'm sure COVID fucked shuffling, huh?
It did, because people were doing it at these festivals, and festivals got canceled. So now they're just filming each other outside. Yeah.
Did you have to find like people to train you or mentor you, kind of show you the ropes of shuffling?
Pretty much. Yeah. I had to like look hard. And then when I went to Cali on leave, I saw like the way, like a lot of the OGs, right? Like in shuffling, a lot of them are from Cali. So
like, how would you even describe shuffling?
So the basics of it are, there's two things. It's called the running man and the T-step. So that came from like Australia and I think the UK too. They were like where it first came. Then it fucking Brazil, Malaysia, and made its way to the States. Yeah, so there's like a whole history, like a lineage.
Dude, I like it, man. I like it.
Yeah.
I wish more people would find shit and do shit that they think is fun.
Yeah.
It was our homie Charles Dara.
Oh yeah.
Who he will be on the podcast one day. I mentioned him a lot.
Stud shit.
Yeah, stud shit, dude. He hit me up. He's like, bro, look at Ed. I fucking love this guy. And the reason that he fucking sent that to me is because he likes living outside of norm.
Yes.
Not very many law enforcement officers spend their nights and weekends out on the street with a dance crew.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's so outside of the realm of what most people in our profession do.
Absolutely.
Like, you're literally probably the only one in the country.
I think so.
That's what you do with your spare time. You find a fucking dance crew and you make dance videos.
Yeah. I don't know one. And I know most of like all the major, fucking shufflers in the country. Yeah. I know a lot of them. So there's none. They don't even know what I do. Like, well, some of them do, but
yeah, just keep that shit on the DL.
Yeah.
So if I go out there with you and I can't shuffle at all, am I going to get banished?
No.
Or will they welcome me as a new inept shuffler?
Yeah, we got new people all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you guys go around Seattle?
It's in Bellevue, Maidenbauer. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Maidenbauer Bay Park.
Okay.
So it's like, real nice park. Yeah, in Bellevue.
And like, I mean, you said initially when you moved up here, you don't have your tribe. And I bet, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's through doing these, like joining these dance clubs and crews, do you start to build a network of people and like kind of feel that sense of community?
I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just tricky with work, like having and we've talked about this, like having to feel weird about, are they going to judge like what I do? And, all that, like everything that comes with all the ACAB and, FTP, all that stuff now. You just don't know who is anti-law enforcement. So that's the only tricky part.
Yeah. Well, and dude, I've said this a lot, like when I was in the professional law enforcement, both in Los Angeles and up here, my peer group was my jiu-jitsu academy. I don't hang out with cops very much outside of work. And that's not because a lot of the guys I'm not close with, like the SRT team when we were down in LA was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I liked all those guys.
Yeah.
But LA's kind of a weird dynamic because it's so big. Everybody lives so far apart. Like there's people that live in like, was it Glendora or whatever, like north of the city.
Yeah.
And then I lived in Temecula.
Yeah.
And then some people lived in Huntington.
Nope.
Some people lived in Long Beach. Some people lived in like Ontario.
Yeah.
Autry is out in Riverside.
Yeah.
Like, in order to like get together, it had to be like a planned event.
Yeah.
Hey, a month from now, we're all gonna do dinner at whoever's house or whatever, you
Right.
know. But just like on the nightly, like, hey, let's go grab some fucking food or whatever. It was always jiu-jitsu guys.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I always tell people is like, if you're a cop, find friends that are outside of the profession.
Yep.
I think it's important, man,
Absolutely.
because cops inevitably talk about cop shit.
Yep. All the time.
And cop shit, you're already focused on it for 8, 10, 12 hours a day while you're at work. The last thing that you should be doing for your own mental health and well-being is focusing on that shit Friday night when you're trying to unwind. And I think that's why I've always kind of like looked at what you're doing and just thought it was cool, because that's as far from cop shit as you can get,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're going out there and you're just fucking having fun, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of cops are afraid to have fun, I feel like.
Think so. Yeah.
You know?
Guarded.
Mhm.
Right. Feel like they have to have a certain persona.
Yeah. And it's like you said, like, even now you have to think about like, okay, well, because this is how the profession is viewed by a lot of people, is this going to affect me here, or is this person going to think that of me? But at the end of the day, you're out there doing it still.
Yeah.
You're not letting that stop you,
Right.
you know?
Like, no fear from judgment, right? Just fucking go
Yeah.
do me. So
So, I mean, fuck, dude, if I was to go dance in front of a group of people in Bellevue right now, I would know that I'm so shitty that it would be embarrassing as fuck, dude. Like, but you had to go through that, I'm sure, right?
Oh, yeah. Like, and I thought I was like, when I got the basics, I thought I was the shit, but I wasn't. Like, looking back, because I filmed myself, you know, from the beginning. And
Okay.
I watched like my old shit, and I just want to like delete it like permanently.
Well, that's funny, dude. I mean, I draw jiu-jitsu parallels to everything, but it's like when I got my blue belt, it was like, oh, this is coming together for me. I'm fucking badass now. And then the same thing happens like enough times where you realize you fucking sucked forever. And now it's like, I think I'm just starting to get it together.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy as you make small steps in something that you were very new to think like, oh, it's coming together for me. But the longer you do it, you realize like, oh, it's a lifelong journey.
Right.
You know? So if you had to make a belt comparison, are you a purple belt in shuffling?
That's probably pretty accurate. Yeah. Definitely not like brown or black. No, but yeah, purple, you know, just got to tweak things a little bit. Yeah.
No, dude, that's a good comparison, because anybody that does jiu-jitsu realizes what that means. Is like, I'm fucking good at what I do now, but there's still a lot of room for improvement.
Right.
Like, but I think purple belts are, I think when you are a purple belt in any activity, right, it's shown you're dedicated and you've put a substantial amount of time at honing your craft.
Right.
And that in itself is fucking rad.
Yeah.
So many people dabble in things. Like Andy Stump got his purple belt last week, right?
Yeah.
And he texted me a picture of it. And I was like, fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, to me, purple belt is what separates people that dabble in it and people that are committed to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think most purple belts will get their black belts.
Yeah.
Outside of like some life-changing event or an injury or whatever. Right. But you're on the path now.
Yeah. How long's he been doing it? Like, that's pretty quick, right?
I think I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think like 3 or 4 years or something.
That's good.
That's fast, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's also, jiu-jitsu is like anything. People attach years to, oh, he got it in 3 years. That's fucking fast. Like if you got a blue belt in 2 years and you're training 2 nights a week, that's a very reasonable amount of time,
right,
to get a blue belt in. But take that same guy and have him train 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
Well, he's literally going to be 2 to 3 times as good in that 2 years.
Yep.
And that's what Andy does.
Yeah.
He trains 5 days a week.
Shit.
And so, and his, because when I went out there, I trained at his academy, at Straight Blast Gym, and then we did a podcast, which is right across the street. So it's pretty cool how like he drives into town, he does his training, and then he does his podcast. So it's like all encompassing, you know?
Nice. Yeah, good setup.
Which, yeah, it's perfect, you know?
Yeah. Straight Blast legit. Like
Yeah, dude.
Matt Thornton, Chris Howder. Like, yeah, that's good for him to have there.
Yeah,
you know?
it's fucking rad, dude. Everybody was there that I trained with that day was so fucking cool too. Like, that's one of my favorite parts about jiu-jitsu, and I bet it's the same in your shuffling community. You go anywhere in the world, and you hit someone up and be like, "Hey, you want to train? You want to shuffle?
Right.
Fuck yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then you immediately have some people that you feel comfortable with, and that like you just build your tribe literally anywhere you go.
Right.
Like when I go to Hawaii, I've been there probably three times in the last 3 years, and everyone always says like it's hard to get in. It's hard to get in with the island community if you're an outsider, you know,
Right.
unless you're a jiu-jitsu guy. Because I had a waiter at our restaurant. It was like, "Hey, you want to train?" And I wasn't wearing a jiu-jitsu shirt. I wasn't nothing, you know, but he saw my ears.
The ears.
And he's like, I said, "Dude, I'm here for a wedding. I didn't even bring a gi." He goes, "If you want to train, I got, you can borrow one of mine." Like, this is a dude I've never even spoke a word to before, but because I train and he trains, we have that connection.
Oh yeah.
That's cool,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so I wish that story ended cooler with me taking him up on the offer and training, but that fucking trip was just a whirlwind. But have you ever shuffled like on vacation? Like you just meet, you link up with people?
I think I have. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like I think New York, a couple other places, or like I was there for work, and then I would just like hit up the community,
Uh-huh.
and I found people, or I already knew them on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the exact same thing. Like when people are traveling through here, I have people visit the gym now just because of the notoriety that I got on Instagram. And now you got people to stop by and be like, "Hey, I'm in town for whatever. I want to train with you." It's like, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So what else, dude? I want to hear. It's funny. I've known you for fucking years, but having to walk the line of what we can talk about and what we can't, you know?
Right.
And that's something that makes me sad because it's like, I feel like that's kind of one of the things that makes people, how do I word this? Like reluctant to trust the profession.
Yeah.
Is because the profession holds such a tight rein on people. The reins are held so tight on people that a lot of people don't feel comfortable just talking about shit.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the public's trust, and then in how they view the profession, there's always an ebb and flow to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been ebbing for a long time, and especially now, like I guarantee you, all the cops out there that are getting caught up in enforcing this stuff, they don't want to be doing it.
Right.
They just kind of find themselves in this position. They got dispatched, and before they know it, someone has a camera on them, and they're being screamed at, and it's like, fuck. They probably want to quit,
Yeah.
but they can't because they got their families or whatever it is, you know?
Job security.
And so, I mean, I get it, dude. Did you see that video that's going viral this morning?
Which one?
It's of a pastor in a church.
In the UK, maybe?
No, it's in Canada.
Oh, okay.
You might think he has a Polish accent.
Okay.
So I don't know if you saw it, but they came into his church to cite him for some kind of corona restrictions and had like 6 cops with him. And he's like, "Get out now.
Oh,
Get out of here. You're not welcome here. Get out, Gestapo. Get out."
shit.
And it was like, he was going hard, dude.
Damn.
And guess what they did? They got out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking stood up.
He shooed them away, and
Yeah.
it worked, man.
Yeah.
I wish more people would start doing that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like my mom, she was just here visiting with my brother, and they fled communist Vietnam like after the war. So I always like getting with her because she gives me stories and perspective. But she definitely is like, oh, a lot of people don't know what it can be like, and she's speaking about Vietnam and like the communist rule and what basically they can do anything at will, you know, and her and the Vietnamese community in California are very conservative, you know, but they have very visceral real life experience to base it off of. So when I see her, she's just like, damn, like this looks just like Vietnam again. And yeah, that's pretty
like,
yeah.
If people are listening, like that shouldn't be just like words that go in one ear and out the other. Think about that. Someone that has survived a fucking communist regime is now drawing parallels to how our own government is treating people. It's pretty fucking serious.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All her sisters, all her, brothers and everything. And it's tricky because my brother lives with her and he's very left leaning. And so there's a little bit of tension in the house. But she's like, look, like this looks just like it. You know, she's like, I'm seeing it. Like the youth are being persuaded and they believe in something and then it's all going to be taken away. Like that's a rough translation of what she's, you know, told me, but yeah.
So does your brother live with her or does she live with your brother?
Well, it's our family's house. So
got it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Not to attack, right? When you said there's tension in the house, it's like, I got a good solution for you.
It's nice hearing stories from her and her generation, you know, about them leaving. I mean, just these insane stories about them leaving Vietnam.
What year did they leave Vietnam?
At the fall of Saigon, 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share any of those stories?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear it, man.
Sure.
Like, what happened when she left? Like, what was the circumstances in which they left?
All right. So at the end of the Vietnam War, communists were taken over pretty much. And my dad was an ARVN soldier, so Army of the Republic of Vietnam, and he supported the Marine Corps. My mom worked and supported the embassy. So she got out on a flight through the embassy. My dad did not want to go on that flight with her because there was word that they would be stopped. Any soldiers would be put in re-education camps. So my dad ended up going with my uncle and a bunch of family members. My uncle was a pilot. He flew like AC-130 gunships, but they flew out on a transport plane.
So he flew AC-130s for the South Vietnamese?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my dad was interpreter / infantry guy. So like when they would go into villages and translate, so he'd do patrols and everything.
Like attached to Marine Corps units?
Yeah,
okay.
Like 3rd ID, I think. But at the end of the war, like a lot of his cousins were locked up in re-education camps, but my dad kind of missed that. And they were like VIP status. If you were a pilot, you could get out onto these like transport planes. So my uncle had that status and he was able to get some family members out on like a smaller transport plane. Okay.
And where did they fly to? Like the aircraft carrier or something? Or do you even know?
I think it was Thailand or the Philippines was their first stop. And they made like several stops. And then my mom went a different way. And the story that I heard
and they were already married then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were married. But my dad wouldn't go with my mom because he didn't want to get like, locked up. But she said he would have been fine anyway, but there was just word going around that if he went with her, that there's a possibility that they would get stopped.
But she would be better off making that trip alone.
Yeah, she took my brother.
Okay.
But yeah.
And how old was he?
3.
Got it.
Yeah. So, but he ended up going on my uncle's plane, and that was a tricky situation because I guess they overcapacitated it. So if they would have stayed on the runway, he wouldn't have had enough distance to pull the nose up. So he had to like dip the nose down to get speed along the water after they took off the runway. So he basically would have killed everyone, like my dad included. But he was so good that he was able to, and they told us at his funeral, but he was able to like get it close enough to the water, but get enough speed, and then like pick up the nose at the right time. Yeah, so he like the fate of so many generations of our family here, like they're all alive because he was such a good pilot.
That's fucking rad, dude. That airframe's incredible too.
Yeah.
Like it's the workhorse. You know, like there was C-130s that flew out of the Panama invasion on one engine.
Shit.
You know, 3 shot out and able to fly out on one. They're fucking badass airplanes, dude.
Monsters. Yeah.
Oh, so when was your dad able to like link back up with your mom? Was that a difficult process, or did they have a plan in place to make it work?
So no plan. So I asked my mom this probably like a couple weeks ago, actually. So I was like, "How the fuck did you guys like link up?" You know, and I think
is that how you said it to your mom? How the fuck? How the fuck did you guys link up?
No, I think they ended up at Fort Chaffee in Arkansas, I think, and she said it was just all word of mouth, just like walking around, like, hey, like, hey, you know, so like that's all it was, just straight fucking word of mouth. And then
think how fucking bizarre that is, dude. Yeah. No phones, no internet, like no way to reconnect.
Yeah.
How long did it take?
Not long after they landed, or like I think it took them about a month to get to the States.
Okay.
Roughly or less.
And so was that like kind of the normal place for most of the refugees to go and kind of sort everything out and then move from there?
I think so. Yeah. And then, you know, from there they would get sponsored. And then one of the sergeants my dad worked with was from Longview. So that's how he sponsored a bunch of our family.
What does a sponsorship mean? Like they house you and stuff for a while, or?
I think it's like financial a little bit to kind of get you off your feet. And I think that's it though. I mean, they were all working by the time they got to Washington. They had to find jobs.
What did they do for work once they got here?
I think my dad worked at a paper mill. My mom was like, did everything from bussing tables to working at a boat company, like boats, you know, building them and all that. So, but they had they just made it work.
You never see people from Asian descent move to America and fail. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just like culturally ingrained to when you show up, you put your nose to the grindstone and you fucking make it happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you see that story, that it's almost always a success story.
Yeah.
I feel like with immigrants coming over from like that same scenario. Because I have some other friends, a similar situation where escaped concentration camps and the kids were eating bugs. And he actually did one of my early podcasts named Stefan. His wife went through all that stuff. And it's the same thing as like, once you go through some real terrible shit and then you get to America, they're so appreciative of it that like, hey, I'll fucking bust tables and work at the paper mill and start grinding until I fucking make it and find success. Right. And I feel like nobody wants to go through that kind of stuff, but the people that do, they're the most resilient.
Oh yeah.
And they're able to adapt and overcome the best. That's why I think like there's a portion of me that thinks like, I don't think our country is going to start changing the trajectory that it's on until we as a country face some real dark, hard times.
Right.
Because think about that, man. Like, how old were your parents when they were going through that? Like mid-20s or something?
20s.
20s, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like 20-year-olds in American 20-year-olds couldn't even begin to fathom escaping a communist regime.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a handful of each generation that does join the military or, you know, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, where you went to different parts of the world. And even though you didn't go through those hardships, you got to see them with your own eyes.
Yeah.
And that gives you perspective.
100%.
And obviously there's no substitute than going through that personally. But I think getting that perspective firsthand may not be a close second, but it is a second. Like it helps you understand. Mm-hmm. But if you've never been through that stuff, you've never seen that stuff, you've never witnessed it, there's no way that you can be grounded in reality.
Right.
I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
you're right. There's nothing for them to use as a point of reference. They literally have nothing. I mean, that's extremely difficult, which is probably why a lot of them have attached to that, the cause, whatever cause that they're attaching to, right?
Yeah.
They have no purpose, like no major anything, you know, which is why ideology probably works, you know.
No, I think about this stuff all the time, man, because if we were in a position right now in our country where you literally had to acquire your own food, you had to move in with elements of people for your own security, right? You had to plan escape routes. You had to, just like your dad, like I can't leave with your mother because based on this intelligence, they're targeting people and I'm going to get scooped up here, right? Like
Right.
you actually have to think about things and plan things. And if you don't, severe consequences up into losing your life.
Right.
Like if people had to live in that kind of environment for even a moment in time, it would change their perspectives on what's important,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't be focused on a gender having 42 different pronouns.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
And like it sounds stupid to say, but that's where we're at in society. Whereas if you arrive at a place where there's nothing extremely important happening and things that have dire consequences, you kind of create them in your own mind.
Right.
That's why so many Americans are depressed, dealing with mental health issues and stuff, because we're not going through adversity.
Right.
We're just kind of floating through space.
Mhm.
And I feel like the human experience isn't supposed to be floating through space. It's supposed to be fighting off fucking predators and rival hordes, all this stuff that's just like in us and on a fucking inside of us on like a fucking in our DNA.
Right.
We don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So what do? You create problems
Mhm.
and you find them. And I think that that's what's happening with a lot of our youth right now. They've attached to these ideas because they're not having to face adversity.
Right.
So now this is their adversity. This is their hill that they can stand on and scream about what they think's important, you know?
Yeah, the human mind is like a human making. I mean, it's a meaning making machine, right? Like we're always just trying to find meaning. Like, why are we here? What are we doing? And if you don't have anything, right, then you'll find something, like you said. So I think that's probably what's happening.
It's fucking bizarre, dude.
Yeah, it's strange.
And like a fucking reset would probably be the best thing that ever happened. Be the best thing that ever happened for us. But who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
How old's your mom now?
She's in her mid-70s.
Okay.
Yeah, around there. They had like different dates, like their real birth date. And when they came over, they could make one up. Like there's all kinds of crazy shit they did. So.
Bro, when I was a police officer, everybody that I dealt with of Somali descent, there's actually a huge Somali community in Seattle. And a lot of like Uber drivers, almost every one of them was born 0101.
Oh,
Like that's their birthday because it's the same thing. They come over and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but what they always say is like they don't even know their birthday.
damn.
So when they come over and you have to fill out your fucking documentation, it's like they literally just pick the first. Hey, my birthday's the first of the year.
Damn.
So
It's funny.
and then in America, your birthday is like the biggest fucking deal
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you ever celebrate yours, like, or did you not care?
I went back and forth on it.
Yeah.
Like there was a time when I didn't give a fuck about my birthday.
Right.
I'm like, don't give me presents. Don't fucking celebrate my shit. But that was also at a time like in my mid-20s when I didn't really care about much. And then one of my ranger buddies is like, bro, celebrating your birthday is celebrating not the day you were born, the fact that you made it another year.
Oh, shit.
And that's fucking awesome. And I was like, dude, I can kind of get behind that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then last year I turned 40. So
Yeah.
we had a big birthday party for that, which was Did you hear that?
I did.
Earthquake?
Either that or indirect fire.
Yeah, I know. You know what's funny? Did you hear the jiu-jitsu medals kind of fucking rattle in the background?
Yeah.
When I was living in California, my jiu-jitsu medals were hung in my closet, but they were all hung up, right?
Right.
And every time there was an earthquake, they'd start clanking together. And so it got to the point where my jiu-jitsu medals, and most of them are bronze medals for listeners.
They're still metal.
Yes. They would, I'd hear them clinking. And I was like, oh, fucking earthquake.
Damn.
I didn't realize that Southern California is fucking like, you always hear, what is it, on the San Andreas Fault?
Mm-hmm.
And so like there's earthquakes all the time. No, there's fucking earthquakes all the time.
Yeah.
At least in the Inland Empire. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
The house would start fucking rumbling and like, hopefully it's not too bad because insurance doesn't cover any of that shit.
Hell yeah. You went recently, right? Like, where'd you go in Cali?
I went back to LA
Yeah.
and just visited some friends, did some, I did a podcast down there. I went, hung out with Joao and Charles.
Yeah.
Fucking smoked and drank one night with those crazy fuckers.
Nice.
And then I headed out to Vegas. And so it was so good seeing everyone.
Yeah.
I went out to dinner with some of the SRT guys again.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, it makes you realize, like, dude, it's fucking been Groundhog's Day down there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Hearing the same stories. People are pissed off at the same stuff.
Right.
It's like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
I feel fortunate. I look at it all the time. I'm fortunate that I'm out of the profession now.
Yeah.
You know? I could not fucking do what everybody's doing.
It's crazy, man. Like you said, like people attach to the job, right? And it's always like complaining about the job, or, you know, it's just the same, like you said, the same thing over and over.
I feel like you have done, fuck, man, maybe the best job out of everybody that was part of our peer group down there. It like detaching from the bullshit
Yeah.
and not letting it consume you.
Right.
You know, because anytime we've hung out, you're never like, you're not going to fucking believe what the supervisor did to me today.
Right.
She fucking made me go to the cell block at fucking 17:30 and blah, 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 blah. Everybody else, you're just fucking bombarded with that shit. And I'm guilty of it too, because you do deal with a lot of bullshit, you know? But I also think you played your cards in a manner where you got to create a path for yourself where it was, I feel like you got to call the shots earlier than most people.
Right.
And maybe that's a direct result of not getting caught up in all the bullshit.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Escape court ops.
Right. That's not the best place to be for, mental health.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I get people all the time asking me about the agency. And, dude, I can't in good faith anymore recommend that people go into a career in law enforcement.
Same.
I don't know anybody that's been in the profession for more than 10 years that's not very disgruntled with where they're at in life. And I feel like, dude, this is our one life.
Yeah.
And there's people that have put 10 years in that are already counting the days down for retirement.
Right.
That's another decade away. Like, think about wishing a decade away of your life away.
Right.
That's a bad spot to be in.
Yeah.
I remember, like, when I was on patrol, I used to think to myself, if I could push this button on my dashboard and blink my eyes and have it be 17:30 so I could be calling out of service, I would do that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, how fucking terrible of a place are you in if you could just push a button and delete 12 and a half hours of your life? Because our shifts were 12 and a half hours. Long days, right?
Right.
I liked it because we only worked 3 days a week. So it's 3 on 4 off, which is fucking rad.
Oh, yeah.
But the other side of it is the days you're working, your whole day. And I also had an hour commute each way.
Jeez.
And so before you know it, your whole day is work, which whatever, a lot of people's whole day is work. But when your whole day is work and you're wishing that you could just fucking delete those 12 hours, like, that's the one commodity that should be the most valuable thing that we have.
Time.
Our fucking time.
100%.
Dude. Every one of us has a finite amount of it left.
Yep.
And it's like a fucking hourglass. Every second it's running out.
Yeah.
And to want to give that up just because, like, that's how you look at that time being spent.
Yeah.
You wish that it could just vanish. That's what you call a clue.
Right.
It's time to move on.
Right.
You know? It's weird how life works out. I think we were talking about it offline the other day, how like I feel like I'm in a fucking simulation or something.
Yeah.
You know, for everything to play out the way that it did. Mm-hmm. But there's a 0% chance that if I didn't get fired for making that video, there's a 0% chance I'd still be a police officer.
Mm.
I would have had to just walk away at this point, you know?
Right.
When my department banned jiu-jitsu, that would have been my breaking point.
Right.
You know? Because I look at it like I have a skill set that I've developed over 18 years.
Right.
That really helps me come home to my family safely.
Right.
And you don't use it very often as a cop, but when you do, it's when it's reasonable and necessary.
Right.
Like you're following case law, you're following policy. But the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of departments, like, did you see all the stuff that New York did
with banning
any move that like puts pressure on someone's diaphragm or puts pressure on their neck?
Yeah,
and it's like, dude, come up and watch a practice up here. People are fucking each other up every single night, and I haven't had any deaths, right? And nor have any jiu-jitsu academies.
Yeah.
Having people mounted, knee on belly, on your back, holding you in a choke. Like, for these departments to just fall, again, it goes into like just following a narrative, not following what works or what's reasonable, but just, hey, everybody's mad because of this incident, so now we're going to ban everything.
Right.
And that became reality for a lot of police officers.
Yeah.
And so... yeah, dude, I totally would have fucking walked.
Damn.
You know? I think I would have walked over the mask issue alone.
Just the masks.
Yeah, dude, I'm not fucking wearing your mask for 12 hours a day.
Right.
You know? Like, that's just, I don't know. In this world, there's right and wrong, but even more important than that is like you have to determine what you feel is right and wrong.
Right.
And then you have to hold yourself to that standard.
To your own standard.
Yeah.
Right.
And for me, all the mask stuff, it's all bullshit, dude. It's just like we said in the beginning. It's virtue signaling. It's falling in line with the narrative. It's our government. It's almost like a test run, seeing if we'll be good little boys, you know?
It's a measure of control.
It's a measure of control, man. It has to be. It has to be at this point. And so for that alone, it's like, you can't wear it.
Right.
You can't wear it. And I have... again, I've talked about this a lot. Like private businesses, I want to respect their ability to make the rules under their roof, right? So if I walk in a place and they say, hey, I have to have a mask on. If I'm in a private establishment, it's one of two things. It's like, okay, well, then I'm going to decide to leave and I'm not going to spend my money here. Let my money be the vote, you know?
Right.
Or I'll put a mask on.
Yeah.
If I need to get this piece of equipment and I understand that this private entity wishes me to do this, like it's hard for me to make that stand,
right?
You know, but the thing that I hate about it is it's not those companies that believe that this is necessary.
Yeah,
they just don't want to get shut down by the government, so that's why they're pushing the narrative. And it's this weird place we've arrived at where the government is making private businesses become the enforcer of their mandates by threat of shutting them down. And that's why I wish everyone would just be like, go fuck yourself, you know?
Right.
But most businesses, they look at it like, well, how do I ensure that I can just stay open?
Right.
This is how I do it. Roger that. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging anyone. Like, I don't know your life's circumstances. I don't know if you're fucking in debt or how many kids you got. Like, if you need to put a sign on the door, please wear a mask to come into this because you don't want to get shut down. I can see where people arrive at that conclusion.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, every story I hear is not, I shouldn't say everyone, but the majority of them, it's not business owner versus citizen. It's citizen versus citizen. It's people, it's the Karens taking an opportunity to go after someone Whereas I think the businesses, they're just doing it to try and ride the storm out and stay in business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can get that.
Yeah.
I can't get down with it.
Right.
Like, my business is mask free, and anyone who doesn't like it can fuck themselves. I've been very open about it. And if you're part of the health department, come up here and tell me to shut down. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's my right. And that's my choice. And I don't expect everybody to fall in line with what I think.
Right.
Just like they shouldn't expect me to fall in line with what they think.
Right.
So I had a student just come on Friday for the first day, and he said he sent an email first. He goes, "Hey, you guys rolling?" And my wife's always like, "What if it's a ruse? What if it's L&I?" You know? And I said, he used the word rolling.
Right.
Not a ruse. He's a
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu guy.
Right.
And I said, I don't give a fuck if it's a ruse. I don't have
Right.
anything to hide.
Right.
I post pictures all the time of us training. And so he came in, and he, at the end of practice, I always let people train for a week to see. I tell people, I want you to feel the vibe of this gym. And I want you to be down with this vibe and down with these people, and then sign up. I don't want anyone signing up on day one, because I don't feel like then having to cancel your contract. Like, don't sign up unless you like this place.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Bro, and he's like, "Nope, I'm signing up tonight, dude." He
Nice.
goes, "When I walked up here," he goes, "my last gym wanted you to put masks on in between rounds." And I'm like, "What? What are we talking about here?"
That makes a lot
It
of
makes
sense.
no, we can take it off and we can get on top of each other. We can sweat all over each other. And then the bell goes off. Get your mask on.
Right.
All right, 1 minute break with your mask on. All right, partner up. All right, round 2. All right, now you can take your mask off. Like, and he's like, good on him, because I
Yeah.
would have done the same thing. If my gym was doing that,
Right.
I'm fucking done with you guys.
Right.
Like, you can have things that are rooted in like safety or things that you believe. Again, like I said, I'm not here to tell you what to do. If you believe one thing, do that. But you got to apply a little bit of common sense.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That
Yep.
sounds kind of like walking to a table with a mask on and then taking it off to eat. And then, you know,
God,
like,
bro, I walked into a bar yesterday, and I'm glad that they're open, and I'm glad that they're allowing private parties. It was one of my buddy's birthdays. And we walk in, and the guy's like, "Hey, you got to have a mask on." And I just looked at him. Nobody else had a mask on in the room, but that's because they were seated. You know what I mean? Once you're seated, you don't have a mask on.
Right.
And so I just looked at him and kept walking, because I didn't even have one on me, you know?
yeah.
And then this girl that was with us, she's like, "When Greg just kept walking without a mask on, that gave me like this, the courage to just walk in without a mask too." And I was like, "God, dude, I can't even believe this is our reality." But we rented out the back room for like this private party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back up to me afterwards and almost kind of apologized for saying that. You know, it's just these strange interactions. And he's like, "Hey, I didn't know you were coming to the private party back here. So it's just the open lounge. If you're walking around out there, we ask people to put masks on, but no big deal." You know what I mean?
Right.
I think maybe he saw his tip getting affected.
Yeah. Yeah.
But dude, I don't know where this stuff starts to fizzle out, because the
Yeah.
coronavirus is fizzling out.
Right.
Period. That's not up for discussion. That's not me being a right-wing wacko. Like the people that are analyzing the data, we are no longer in pandemic level of sickness. Period. That's a fucking hard data. So how much longer are they going to keep that going?
Well, they're throwing around the new language is strains, right? You've heard that.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's the
different
new.
strains.
People are throwing that out there too. So
And there's different strains of the flu, and there's
Yes.
different strains of colds. Like, so fucking what? You know? Did you see that lady on I think it was CNN, and she's like, "Listen, we can't open up our society yet, because if we do, we lose the power to incentivize people to get the vaccine. We have to use opening the society as an incentive to vaccinate themselves. Because if we open up before people are vaccinated and we can't hold that over them, people are just going to go back to normal life." I'm like, did you really just say that? Sounds like some big pharma fucking like playbook that's supposed to be in like some OPSEC.
Right.
You're like, yeah, you were told that in some meeting with your fucking executives. And hey, dummy, you didn't realize that that's supposed to be secret, you know? And she just says it live on CNN and it's like, well, at least you're admitting it now.
Damn.
You know? Dude, I'll show it to you.
I got to check that out.
It's fucking bizarre, dude.
Yeah.
We need to use opening as an incentive. That's why we can't let society open until we make sure that we use it to make everybody get vaccinated. And then Biden's fucking senile ass is on TV holding the mask up. And it's like, once you get vaccinated, we'll be able to get away from these. But until then, it's like clear as day, using it as leverage, you know? Even the military. I hate to admit this because I don't think I'd recommend people go in the military anymore either. I really don't, dude. The special operations community is even getting like, they appointed that like diversity and inclusion officer who's just a radical left-wing wacko. And SOCOM is supposed to like appreciate this.
Right.
And whoever runs the USASOC's fucking Instagram is like, we welcome aboard. Like, where's the men with their balls? Like, we don't need this.
Did you hear that dude's getting investigated?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I already heard that, like, it sounds like it's not going so well for him. Yeah. So fucking good.
Right.
Yeah, it makes me happy. But so originally, I guess they were going to say, like, it's you get to decide if you get a vaccine or not, if you get the COVID vaccine, right? Then I saw a thing come out that said, in order to enter the chow hall, you have to have your vaccination card. I thought you just said I get to decide. Well, you do get to decide, but you don't get to eat unless you get the vaccine. And bro, the fucking general that signed that document, whose name was at the bottom of it, was Chris Donahue. That was my company commander when I was a young ranger. He is widely known as being a fucking savage. Like, he's a legend in the special operations community. And it's funny because when I had Joe Kent on a couple weeks ago, he's a special forces guy running for Congress.
Right.
He was in 2nd Battalion with me, ACO 275, when Donahue was our company commander. And we talked about what a savage he is. And then I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, what? You're going to sign a document that says you have to have a COVID vaccine to go eat? Like, him of all people, I never would expect him to fall in line with the narrative, but it's like, dude, I feel like once you're at a certain level in officer leadership in the military, you're a straight politician, because if you don't mind your P's and Q's, you're fucking out, you know? And so it's crazy to think that the radical narratives are getting pushed at the highest level of military command.
Wow.
I don't know where this goes, dude, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like most, and I don't know if people like are willing to admit this or not, but this is fact. Most special operations guys lean conservative. I'm not saying they're right-wing wackos, and I'm not saying you don't have people that have liberal ideologies. You have all kinds, right? But the majority of special operations soldiers have conservative values,
right?
You know? So them seeing what's going on worldwide, and now it's affecting the military, a lot of them are disgusted right now.
Right.
And we'll see where this goes, but I don't think I can in good faith be like, yep, go join the army right now.
Right.
Who knows what that means?
Right.
And then also with the politicians that are in power now, the powers that be, are we going to go into another bullshit conflict somewhere?
That's what I was just thinking.
What do you think, man?
Yeah. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
And there's already been like some you're hearing some things underground. I'm sure you still have connections to the communities, is like, oh, they're getting spun up again. They're told like we may be deploying before too long. And it's like, for what?
Right.
For what? You know?
Right. Right.
I'm very open about Iraq, and dude, Iraq was some of the most fun times of my entire life.
That was good times.
I fucking loved it, but I loved it because I was a wild ass young man out there doing crazy shit, not because of like what that was doing politically and the effects that it was having like globally. Like I have to look back on the whole Iraq war, and if I'm being honest with myself, I have to say, what the fuck were we doing over there?
Yeah.
And then I also have to say, of course dudes were trying to kill us.
Right.
Like, of course, like if a fucking military had soldiers walking around Lake Stevens, Washington right now,
Right.
from a foreign country, guess what I would be doing? Putting in IEDs and sitting in sniper hides and sniping them as they walk down my fucking sidewalk, like our streets. Of course those dudes were trying to fucking kill us, you know? And so when you look at it from like a different perspective, as a little older, a little more mature, and just reflecting on stuff, yeah, dude, of course all of those fucking guys came from Yemen,
Right.
Saudi Arabia, fucking Chechnya, like all Syria, all over the place to fuck Americans up.
Yeah.
Because what were we doing there in the first place? You know?
Yeah. I mean, was it about WMD for you or me? Like, no, like.
And that's what makes you have to say when they say it was WMDs. When you push a narrative that is then pretty clearly understood that that's not what it was about, and then you have to ask yourself, what were we really doing over there? And then you always hear it's the oil, 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 oil. Dude, we weren't taking their oil.
Right.
I think it was Trump that said, whatever happened to the victor goes the spoils, right? Like, we weren't taking their oil. Like the oil fields in Kirkuk, like you remember those things? Like those weren't controlled by the U.S.
Right.
At least nothing that I ever saw. Mm-hmm. If you were to sell it as, hey, we're gonna go to Iraq and we're gonna fucking crush them, we're gonna take their oil, and then gas is gonna be 75 cents a dollar. A lot of people would lose their shit.
Right.
But at least you're being honest.
Right. At least you're being honest.
You know what I mean? Right. Like, hey, I get that we need to drive cars and fly planes. And if this is your plan to make it happen, just call it what it is.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I think it's deeper than that, dude. And I don't fucking, again, dude, that's outside of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But I do think we're going to see we're probably going to see more conflicts. And maybe part of those conflicts is just smoke and mirrors to divert your attention, to take attention off of where it should be. You know, there's so much nefarious ass shit going on that, hey, we start bombing someone, everyone will be looking over there while we're over here doing this, you know?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Russians and the Chinese are giving Hunter Biden millions of dollars. Nothing to see here. Watch this bomb drop on Tehran, you know?
Right.
All right, well, fuck, dude. We're at 2 hours.
Okay.
That's usually where I like to wrap these up.
Yeah.
You got anything that you would like to impart on closing? You're going to be a new podcaster soon, potentially.
Potentially, you know, I'm definitely dabbling with the idea.
So
just gotta do some planning and thinking on how to do it. But
dude, it's the podcasting world's cool because I feel like everybody supports everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a cool community to be into.
For sure.
I've yet to have like people be like, you shouldn't have a show, or you know what I mean? Like Andy Stump really fucking helped me out. I saw someone called him my pod daddy yesterday on the internet. Hey, Andy Stump's your pod daddy. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. You know, he helped me out, showed me the ropes.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool, man. I think you should, because I always tell people, man, if you have one person that listens to your show and takes something from it,
right,
it's worth your time.
Yeah.
You know, anybody that goes into podcasting as a method of revenue or getting rich and famous, good luck.
Right.
You know, once you make it to the top, there is money to be made in it, but very few people are there.
Right.
Everybody else is just part of the ocean of podcasts. But the neat thing about it is once you start to put out a product that's consistent and that people believe in, dude, you start to change people's perspectives. You start to change people's lives.
Right.
And I've gotten so much feedback from people that listening to this show, because I think this is going to be episode 43.
Nice.
So it's like we're not brand new anymore, but we're still new.
Right.
You know? But 43 episodes in, we've had enough people that have listened and believe what we're putting out and believe like the perspectives and stuff that I'm sharing. I'm getting the coolest emails that are like, hey, I started training because I listened to your show, or I'm down 30 pounds and I'm this and I'm that. And it's like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's just cool, man.
Yeah.
It's the internet being used in a good way.
Absolutely.
In contrast to so much bullshit that we see,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of good shit happening.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming up.
No, thanks for having me, brother. Yeah.
Whenever you get your shit going, I'll be sure to push it out there and help you out
Hell
however
yeah.
I can.
Yeah. Appreciate it, brother.